So, your background in the military, right? How did that shape your understanding of simulation? Is there a difference that you can perceive from people who have served and are now doing simulation versus people that organically or academically arrived at that?
I think that the idea to perceive things in hierarchies, and to think in levels and layers and very well assigned areas of responsibility is something which comes naturally when you are in the armed forces. And that has been very helpful for simulation, because if you try to build a big simulation that is doing everything, you are ending up with this huge spaghetti code, and it's very, very hard to identify comparable services, composable services, reusable ideas. So it is much easier if you learn to think in these compartments from the beginning. The challenge, however, is that if you don't understand that every simulation runs in this bigger context and you have to have the big picture as well, it's always going to be a challenge to really understand when is a simulation valid, when can it be applied, and how it can be applied.
So sticking with the military idea as you speak, it makes me think about the idea of mentorship and tutoring and bringing people up that is well known in the military in some sense.
Yes.
Did that influence you more than the academic, or how did it shape your mentorship skills as you're a well-known, mentor and the person who has touched a lot of students who are today in the field?
One thing you learn as an academic leader is that you are supposed to establish your area of responsibility and interest, and when you have this academic niche, that is what defines you and that is what makes you the big professor or the recognized expert and so on. One thing you learn as a military leader is that the first thing that can happen in battle that you get hit by a bullet. So you have to make yourself replaceable by everyone who is in your unit if you want your unit to go forward. I always applied this context for my mentorship and for my research ideas, meaning that every PhD student and every team member that joined my team was supposed to understand the project as a whole and was seen as the potential next leader within this project. Very well known that means that these students now can easily go out and do their own research because they already learned how to do research and how to orchestrate research within the group.
So in light of that, you have a ton of students, but you're also part of a lineage with Axel Lehmann and people that we see here today. What has simulation and the simulation community meant to you personally? A lot of us know you, we know your family, a lot of strong relationships. How would you say being in this field has really helped grow you as a person?
I think that simulation and the overall societies around simulation shaped me significantly. I would not be where I am today without simulation and the support of the societies, including the Society for Modeling and Simulation SCS, the Association for Computing Machinery, SIGSIM, that were the big driving elements, but also the many experiences I was able to make with the NATO modeling and simulation community, which is still coming back and congratulating on events and coming and asking for additional contributions as a rapporteur of elements like this.
One final question. Where do you see us if you were talking to Andreas 20 years from now? What would you like us to have accomplished? What would you like the field to have finally tackled successfully?
Or Andreas 20 years from now would be hopefully with a good handicap and a nice villa somewhere where it's warm with lots of grandchildren around me. For the community, I hope that academic grandchildren are going to be at a place where I am now, namely understanding that no matter what you do scientifically, you work with models. No matter what you do scientifically today, you work with computers. So modeling and simulation, which is looking at the conceptualization part on the one hand side, and the computational part with the simulation side, if you are serious with modeling and simulation, that is the next big step of knowledge representation. And our knowledge of today is going to be captured in modeling and simulation approaches. As big hypes that we currently see with data science and with deep learning, the whole understanding component is missing. And that is something which is definitely the big plus of modeling and simulation, that we can capture our knowledge in a way that we always did. Every scientist is thinking in simulation and models. And the difference is now we are utilizing the power of computers to make these models executable, tractable, explainable, well documented. And I think in 20 years, the knowledge of mankind is going to be captured in models, executable models.
I know I said it was the last question, but last, this time seriously, last question.
Ultimate question.
Who was your favorite PhD student?
Yes.
Thank you, Andreas.